"Without me, you're nothing." That's what he said before sliding a velvet box onto my serving tray. And I'm 23, a waitress in Miami. Not some high-end socialite or influencer. Just a girl working late shifts on Ocean Drive, balancing plates of overpriced food for people who tip depending on their mood. I started this job to cover my college tuition and rent. Nothing glamorous. Most nights it's exhausting, but predictable. You deal with entitled customers, smile until your cheeks hurt, then go home smelling like wine and garlic butter. But this night was different. It was a Friday evening, the kind that makes the restaurant buzz. Neon lights from the street outside blurred against the glass walls, mixing with the golden glow from chandeliers. The air carried that mix of truffle oil and expensive cologne that screams money. Every table was packed, people laughing too loudly, glasses clinking like bells. I was rushing between tables when the hostess gestured me toward the VIP section. An NTHAT table is always the same type. Men in tailored suits, Rolexes flashing, voices louder than the music. They treat the staff like props in their performance. But this guy, he stood out. Not just rich, powerful. A hedge fund manager from New York, the kind of man whose name shows up in financial articles, the type people whisper about. When I set down a tray of champagne, he leaned closer than necessary, his cologne hitting me like a wall. He smiled, that smooth, practiced kind of smile, and whispered, "Without me, you're nothing." His friends laughed like it was some clever joke. I laughed too. Fake, of course. But inside, my stomach twisted, and NTHAT was the first red flag. And I ignored it, and working service. You hear awful stuff all the time. Drunk guys hitting on you, businessmen talking down to you like you're part of the furniture. You learn to brush it off, smile, and move on. But the way he said it stuck with me. Not playful, not teasing. It was heavy, like he meant it. Like he wanted me to believe it. I told myself to shake it off and went back to balancing glasses, trying not to think about it. But then it happened. Out of nowhere, he placed something on my tray. Small. Velvet. My hand froze midair. I thought maybe it was a prank, or maybe he wanted me to hold something for him. But when I glanced down, I saw it. A jewelry box. My pulse spiked instantly. It wasn't just any box. It was the kind of box you only see in commercials. Deep blue velvet, sharp corners, soft to the touch even through my tray cloth. I couldn't stop my fingers from brushing against it. I tilted it open just a fraction, just enough to peek. The light caught the diamond inside and shot it back into my eyes. My heart dropped into my stomach. I nearly dropped the entire tray of champagne. NNTHAT was the moment I knew this wasn't normal. When I looked up, my manager was across the room. And he was staring right at me. His face wasn't angry, exactly. More like calculating. He knew what he saw, and I knew what it looked like. Around me, the noise of the restaurant felt different. I could still hear the clatter of forks, the low music, the hum of voices, but it all blurred together like background static. The only thing I could really feel was the weight of that box in my hand and the heat creeping up my neck. I tried to keep my smile steady, to act like nothing unusual had just happened, but my coworkers noticed. One bartender raised his eyebrows when I passed by. A hostess gave me that side-eye look, the one that says, "Oh, I know what's going on." My skin prickled under their stares. In that moment, I realized I had no good options. If I pocketed the box, people would assume the worst. If I left it on the table, I'd humiliate him in front of his friends. Either way, I was screwed. NNTHE velvet pressed into my fingers, soft but suffocating. My ears rang with the sound of laughter at the VIP table. My chest felt tight, like I couldn't breathe properly. I wanted to throw the box across the room, but instead, I just stood there, frozen, pretending like this was just another shift. NNBUT it wasn't. It was the start of something I couldn't just shake off. And that's how it all began. I wish I could tell you I dropped the tray, stormed out, and quit on the spot. That would have been clean, dramatic, and honestly, kind of badass. But real life isn't like that. I froze. My smile stayed glued to my face, while my brain screamed. Minutes later, my manager pulled me aside by the swinging kitchen doors. He didn't yell. He didn't need to. His voice was low, sharp, cutting through the noise of the kitchen. "Don't play games here. You know what this looks like." And I tried to explain. I stuttered something about not asking for it, about being blindsided. But he cut me off with a sentence that chilled me more than the air blasting from the freezer behind us. "It's your word against his. And you know who people will believe." NTHAT was the moment I knew I wasn't in control of this. When I stepped back onto the floor, I felt eyes on me. My coworkers weren't subtle. One bartender smirked and whispered, "Hope the Porsche comes next." Another server gave me that pitying look, the one that says, "I'd hate to be you right now." A hostess leaned over and muttered, "Guess we know why she gets the VIP tables." It spread so fast. Gossip moves quicker than smoke in a crowded room. I could almost feel the rumors wrapping around me, suffocating. Then came the public scene. He raised his glass high, voice booming louder than the music. To loyalty, NTHE men at his table clinked glasses, laughing, eyes flicking toward me. My face burned. My tray wobbled. I swear the whole restaurant went quiet for a split second. Even the background music seemed to fade. NNTHAT was the moment I wanted to disappear. NNTHE sensory details hit me all at once. The sharp pop of a champagne cork somewhere behind me. The metallic clink of cutlery hitting plates. The flicker of chandelier light that felt suddenly too bright. Sweat sliding down my spine under my polyester uniform. The velvet box sat on my station like a landmine I didn't know how to disarm, and I kept telling myself, just get through the shift, just smile, just serve the food. But my hands shook every time I reached for a glass. My fake laugh cracked in the middle, and no matter how hard I tried to act normal, I knew people were watching. Judging N, when the night finally ended and I stumbled home, exhausted and buzzing with panic, I thought maybe it was over. I thought maybe I could shove the box into a drawer, pretend it was some bizarre fever dream, and move on. NNBUT, then my phone buzzed, an unknown number. 3 words. Don't lose it. NAMY stomach dropped. I sat on the edge of my bed staring at the screen, my fingers frozen. How did he even get my number? What did he mean? Don't lose it? Why was I being pulled into this like I had a choice? NNTHAT was the moment I realized this wasn't just a ring. It wasn't a joke, it wasn't harmless, and it definitely wasn't over. And I replayed my manager's words in my head. It's your word against his. The toxic phrases stacked up. Without me, you're nothing. Don't lose it. They weren't random. They were control. A leash. And I barely slept that night. I kept hearing the laughter from the VIP table, seeing the stares of my coworkers, feeling the weight of the velvet box in my hand. I'd wake up, check my phone, half expecting another message. NNTHE next morning, the box was still there on my dresser, mocking me. The velvet looked softer in daylight, almost innocent. But I couldn't unhear the clink of glasses or unsee my manager's eyes. NNTHAT was the moment I knew the box wasn't just an object. It was a trap. And I was already inside it. The text wouldn't leave my head. Don't lose it. 3 words. And suddenly, the ring felt radioactive. I couldn't shove it in a drawer and forget. It was sitting there like a curse. And then BY morning. My nerves were shot. I stared at the box for a long time, debating whether to throw it in the trash. But curiosity got the better of me. I opened it again, letting the lid snap back just enough to see the diamond glint in daylight. That's when I noticed something I'd missed before. N inside the band, tiny letters, an engraving. At first, I thought it was just some jeweler's mark. But no, it was a date. N and I froze. I grabbed my phone, typed his name into Google. Articles popped up, photos of him at events, business write-ups. And there it was, plain as day, the same date. His wedding anniversary, NNTHAT, was the moment I knew. It wasn't just a ring. It was proof. NNNOT, a gift. Not generosity. Evidence. NNMY hands shook so badly, I almost dropped the box. My chest went tight, like the air was suddenly heavier. I sat on the edge of my bed whispering, what am I supposed to do with this? I needed someone to tell me I wasn't going crazy. So I went to the only person I trusted at work. Luis, the bartender. We'd closed shifts together for months. He'd seen me cry in the walk-in freezer after nightmare customers. If anyone would understand, it was him. NNTHAT night. I cornered him after closing, pulling the box from my bag like it was contraband. "Look," I whispered. My voice shook. He looked at me, confused, until I pointed at the engraving NNHE, squinted, read it, and then his whole face changed. No jokes, no smirks. Just silence. Finally, he said, "That's not a gift. That's evidence." NNTHE word hit me like ice water. Evidence, NNHE told me to keep it somewhere safe. "If this blows up, you'll need proof you didn't ask for it." His voice was calm, but his eyes gave him away. He was nervous too. NNFOR the first time. I realized I wasn't totally alone. Someone else saw what I saw. Someone else believed me. That helped, but it didn't make the fear go away. And because evidence cuts both ways. And I kept thinking, if people find out, they won't just question him, they'll question me. Why me? Why would he trust me with something like this? Was I encouraging it? Was I leading him on? I could already hear the gaslighting. "You're too sensitive." It was just a joke. Or worse, she must have liked the attention. That's the trap, isn't it? Power flips the story. NNSO. I started taking precautions. I took screenshots of the text messages. I hid the ring in a plain envelope and slid it under my mattress. I even wrote the date on a sticky note, just in case. My hands trembled the whole time, like I was handling a bomb. Every shift after that felt like walking on glass. The citrus smell of polished tables made me nauseous. The sharp clatter of silverware made me jump. Every laugh from the VIP section felt like it was about me. My polyester uniform scratched at my skin until I wanted to tear it off. Luis caught me one night, staring at the VIP table like it was a crime scene. He mouthed 2 words from behind the bar. "Stay quiet." NNTHAT was the moment I realized I had a choice. I could bury the envelope, pretend none of it ever happened, and let the whispers write my story for me. Or I could keep it, hold on to the evidence, and wait for the moment when it mattered. Neither option felt safe. But one thing was clear. This ring wasn't going away. And neither was he. After that night with Luis, I knew I couldn't keep pretending. The box wasn't just sitting under my mattress, it was sitting on my chest every second of the day. I needed to do something, anything, to feel like I had even a shred of control. NMY's first move was small but huge to me. I refused his table. Every time the hostess tried to assign me to the VIP section, I made excuses. I told her I was tired of dealing with entitled guys. I offered to take the back tables, bust dirty plates, even cover double shifts. Anything but that table. NNMY manager noticed, of course. He raised an eyebrow one night and said, "You're turning down big tips?" I swallowed hard and forced a laugh. Guess I like working in peace. He smirked, like he knew I was lying, but he let it slide. NNTHE's second step was more deliberate. I printed a photo of the engraving inside the ring. Just one copy. I folded it into my journal between grocery lists and doodles. It felt ridiculous, but I couldn't stop thinking, what if the ring vanished? What if he or someone else said it never existed? I needed backup. NNTHAT was the moment I realized, silence isn't safety. Silence is erasure. NNBUT, the paranoia only grew. My phone buzzed again a few nights later. Same unknown number. New message. Don't forget who gave it to you. NMY chest tightened. My hands shook so badly I dropped my charger onto the floor. The loud crack made me jump like a gunshot. I grabbed my phone, heart pounding, and immediately screenshotted it. My gallery was starting to look like a crime folder. And then came the wife. NNSHE showed up one afternoon during a slow shift. No entourage, no husband, just her. She was flawless. Designer sunglasses, perfect hair, posture that screamed confidence. She ordered sparkling water and nothing else. And then, without even looking at me, she said, "My husband has expensive taste. He forgets it always comes with receipts." NTHE ice clinked in her glass. My throat went dry. My palms went sweaty against the serving tray. Was she warning me? Testing me? Did she know? NNTHAT was the moment I knew. I wasn't just caught between him and my job anymore. I was caught in their marriage. Later, I told Luis what happened. He leaned on the bar, shaking his head. She's on to him. If she finds out about the ring, you'll be dragged into their war. His advice was simple. Stay invisible. NNBUT. How could I? Every shift felt like I was standing under a spotlight. NNTHE final straw came during a Friday night rush. The hedge fund guy brushed past me near the host stand. His cologne hit me first, strong, suffocating. Then his voice, low and sharp. Don't make me regret choosing you. NNTHAT toxic phrase stuck in my head like a splinter. Don't make me regret choosing you. As if I was some prize he picked out. As if I belonged to him. NNMY hands trembled on the POS screen as I typed in an order. My chest burned. That was the moment I knew I couldn't just hope this would blow over. NNSO. I made a decision. I gathered everything, the ring, the photo, the screenshots, and slipped them into a small safe at home. Not in my bag, not under my bed. Locked away. If he wanted to play games, I'd be ready. And I wasn't brave enough yet to go to HR. I wasn't strong enough yet to go to the police. But for the first time in weeks, I felt like I had leverage. N. Maybe not enough to win, but enough not to lose silently. And sometimes, that's the first step to surviving. I thought locking everything in that safe would let me breathe, but instead it just reminded me how much I was holding. The ring, the photo, the screenshots, they weren't just objects. They were a time bomb, and the explosion came sooner than I expected. NNTWO, weeks later, Saturday dinner rush. Packed house, music thumping faintly under the buzz of conversation, champagne popping in the background. That's when I saw him walk in, and he wasn't alone. NNHI's wife was on his arm. NNSHE looked perfect, like always. Hair sleek, diamond earrings catching the light. They sat down in the same VIP section, calm, smiling like a power couple posing for the cameras. But I caught it, the tension under her smile. And when I passed their table, her eyes flicked down toward my apron pocket, just for a second. My skin prickled. NNTHAT was the moment I knew. Something was about to happen. It happened fast. She raised her glass, her voice carrying across the room. To loyalty. Isn't that right, dear? NHER eyes locked on me. His jaw tightened. For the first time, he didn't have that smug grin. The entire restaurant went quiet, the kind of silence you only notice when it's heavy. All eyes turned. NNTHAT was the crack in his mask, and whispers rippled through the dining room. Phones came out. Guests recorded, pretending not to. Even my coworkers froze, watching. My tray nearly slipped from my hands. NNBY the next morning. Gossip blogs had the photos. Grainy shots of him looking cornered. Her raising a glass like she was calling him out on stage. Headlines read, Power Couple's awkward toast raises eyebrows at Miami hotspot. And suddenly, the story wasn't about me anymore. It was about him. NNHE never texted me again. No more velvet boxes. No more late-night threats. He still came in sometimes, but never looked me in the eye. Never requested my section. His swagger was gone, replaced by a stiff, controlled silence. And his wife? She made sure to tip me in cash. Neat bills, folded once, tucked into the check presenter. No words. Just that cold, perfect smile. Was it pity? Was it solidarity? Or was it a warning? I'll never know. An NMY manager didn't corner me anymore either. One night he tried, starting with his usual handle it quietly tone. But I cut him off. My voice shook, but I said it. Quiet doesn't mean defenseless. NTHAT was the moment I felt something shift inside me. And I wasn't fired. I wasn't blacklisted. The whispers from coworkers eventually faded, though I still catch a side eye now and then. The restaurant moved on, because restaurants always do. But me? I didn't forget. I still have the envelope in the safe. Some nights I think about burning it, letting the whole chapter go up in smoke. Other nights I wonder if I'll need it again. Because evidence is tricky. It protects you, but it also ties you to the very thing you want to escape. What stuck with me most wasn't the ring or the texts. It was how fast people are willing to believe the worst version of you, and how important it is to hold onto your own truth, even if no one else sees it. Because when a man with power tells you, "Without me, you're nothing," he's not joking. He's testing whether you'll let him write your story. This time, I wrote my own. NNSO. Tell me, what would you have done? Keep the evidence hidden or blow everything up?